Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Thanks to all of you who voted. I haven't heard back from everyone. I actually was waiting, but then I realized, okay, we have the majority anyway, so I can go ahead and make the announcement. From now on, all assignments will be due on Sunday midnight. Okay, you still have to participate in discussion and you have to finish the discussion part by Friday midnight. That hasn't changed, but now you have a little bit more time to work on these assignments over the weekend and then submit them by Sunday midnight. Now that said, I will take more time to grade these. Okay, generally I was actually downloading everything on Saturday morning. Then I was grading them over the weekend and was able to return your grades by Monday midnight. Now I won't be able to do that, and sometimes I have very busy weeks as well, like this one. So I may take some time grading them. But that being said, I will definitely get these back to you, or I'll try to. I don't know if I get sick or something. Of course I can't, but I'll try to get your assignments back to you by the end of the week. Okay? So I'll take a little bit more time, but I think this overall is going to work for everyone. I don't know. This was essentially based on your feedback that you gave me. So hopefully everyone is going to feel a little bit more relaxed. So you won't feel like, oh my God, we have to finish everything all at once, all at the same time. No, you don't have to. Okay. So discussions, Friday midnight, assignments, Sunday midnight. Okay. Now, thank you also for the feedback you gave me. Some of you actually gave some very detailed feedback, giving me suggestions as to what to do with the course, the content, how to proceed, the pace of things, how I can help you better. So I really do pay attention to these things, okay? I want you to feel good about it, but at the same time, this I told you at the very beginning. Do you remember what I said? It's going to be a challenging course. And this is challenging for everyone. And I try to be as fair as I possibly can, okay, with respect to my grading and everything else. So generally, I would warn you once, hey, you didn't post it in the discussions this week, and I'm going to excuse it for once. But next time, if you don't, you're going to get a 0. And guess what? Then you get a 0. So essentially, if you have a problem with it, just let me know. Or if for some reason you won't be able to post that week, just again, let me know. And if you think for some reason, okay, you gave me feedback, Dr. Alakoç, but I did not understand this part of the feedback, so could you explain that again? I'm more than willing to do that. So send me another email. I try to respond to these as soon as I can. Sometimes I'm outside with little internet connection, so that then may become an issue, but I really try to answer all the emails within 24 hours or less, okay? So take advantage of that, and if you think I can help you better, if you actually give me more specific things to work on, I will be happier to help you even more. Now, that being said, this week we're working on an outline. The example of the outline is provided in the lecture notes, and we're working also on the introduction part of the papers. Now, introduction is important, okay? Introduction part of the paper is where you can really grab the attention of the reader, and you can make them want to read your paper. So it's important to start with a hook. I want you to get your readers engaged, and which means essentially to get yourself engaged in the first place, right? So sometimes, I don't know, guys, what works for me at least is I don't wait for inspiration to come. I put the words on the paper, right? Then I go back and I say, oh, okay, this is pretty horrible, so let's start again. Then I start making my edits, changing things, taking paragraphs, moving them around. And yeah, it takes time for me to write these as well, right? But I try to make it engaging. So generally, I would start with a case study, with a puzzle, an interesting research question. I gave you some examples in the announcement, okay? And I also shared some, readings with you. And I'm going to do some shameless self-promotion and gave an example from one of my articles, actually, now. So I recently, actually, I worked on a paper on the effectiveness of female suicide bombers. There's a ton of literature out there, for instance, which argues that women make effective suicide bombers because they are better with soft targets. They don't arouse as much suspicion as men would, okay? And they can hide things under their dresses. So, I mean, they essentially give a bunch of reasons. And, and they attract more attention afterwards. So a bunch of reasons, again, why females would be more effective when they're used in suicide operations. But there is also literature which argues that, not necessarily, because now we know about female suicide bombers, so there's nothing surprising about them. I started with this debate in the introduction, okay? I started with an example of a female suicide bomber where no one suspected that she would explode the 22 pounds of explosives that she was hiding under her shirt. Then I say, okay, this was just one of those cases. Then I went on to explain, okay, there's literature that argues that, okay, women make effective bombers, and there's literature that argues that, no, they don't necessarily, they're just like men. And I said, I'm going to test this argument using a new data set, okay? Because there's lots of literature, yes, but it's mostly anecdotal evidence. It's mostly theoretical, but there is not enough empirical work done on the subject. So here is my contribution. So what I want you to do then in the introduction, and this is just one example, right? So there's two different groups of scholars arguing different things. And what I want to do in this paper is to make an empirical contribution to this debate, to see actually which one of these arguments hold water when tested against empirical evidence. You don't necessarily have to do that. Your contribution could be theoretical. Your contribution could be to, again, really try to apply an argument on a specific case, whatever it is that you're doing, right? But you're still making a contribution to the literature. I actually am going to show you something that I just remembered. So I had a professor when I was in grad school who made the argument that, if literature is something like this, sometimes the contributions we make is this much. But it's okay. It is still a contribution, right? Even though it's small, whatnot. So essentially, just try to think about, again, where in this body of literature are you going to make a contribution? And just indicate that. So in your introductions, I want to see what your research question is, what your argument is, okay? What your contribution is, and how your paper is going to proceed. Okay, so in what follows, I'm going to first talk about da-da-da. Then I'm going to move on and explain da-da-da. And finally, I'm going to finish with conclusions and policy recommendations, whatever it is that you're going to do. Okay, does that make sense? But please, make it engaging. It sometimes takes time. I write something, I walk around, I take a walk, I run, whatever it is that I want to do. Then I come back to it and rewrite it. So of course it's a process, and it's challenging for everyone. Everyone, I promise you this, okay? So you're not the only one suffering. Everyone suffers equally. Keep working at it. Go back to it. Sometimes you have to leave it a little bit and go back to it with rested eyes and reread what you write, but make it engaging for yourself, so it's going to be engaging for your readers as well. Okay? So I hope these suggestions help. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want me to look at things before, send them to me, but I have lots of grading to do right now. Well, we'll see how it's gonna go. And I'll try to help you as much as I can, okay? I'll talk to you later. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.